Maybe it used to be ready.
Yeah, it's the new camera because the old one finally died.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Okay, let's start over. Okay, the date is July 21st, 2020. The call meet to order at 5:46. Those present, 3 commissioners, Kathy Toline, the chief, and the deputy chief. And the first thing on the agenda is public comment members of the district. Please.
Hello there.
You got something to bring up?
I do. I brought a list.
Well, guess
So,
we could start with you.
district meetings, no?
Answer 1221.
I don't know what the hell all happened there, but that's not how
12C3.
everything should have went. The first thing I want to ask you about is scheduling of your meetings. You meet on Tuesdays, the same day as the Board of Selectmen meeting, which makes it very hard for us to attend. And it also pretty well negates 2 of the 3 of you from attending a selectmen's meeting in the town in which you live. And it also occurs to me that one of the 3 of you regularly has an initial meeting at 5:30. So,
What's that in the school bus? It narrows it down to 2?
I'm sorry?
No, no.
So, I'd like to see you change the day you meet. Over time, the fire commission has met on multiple days. It used to be Wednesday, Thursday. I think way back, it was Tuesday. So the way you meet now, the commissioner, who is also a Tilton selectman, can go to his meeting on Thursday. It doesn't work the other way around. So, that's one thing. Second thing is, we missed an opportunity at the district meeting to get some money to fix engine 1. What's the plan for that at this point? Where's that cash going to come from?
It's going to come from the budget. And as we go through the year, we have to find, I'm looking at places where we may have money that we won't spend, or I won't spend it because we have to spend it on that. And the 2 main lines I'm looking at right now are salaries and overtime.
So it's going to get fixed.
It's getting fixed right now.
I don't think we will have a choice.
I'm not saying you don't. If you do,
So-
you don't.
so-
I'm just asking you.
No, but all I'm saying is, we have to get the truck fixed, there's no doubt about it. And wherever the money comes from, whatever we have to do to get the money, we have to do away with something and do something, but have to do it.
I understand that.
Okay.
But
I
I'm
mean,
just
we don't have a
wondering
choice.
what your thought was on where it was going to come from. That's all. I know it's going to come out of the budget.
That's really my job to manage. I'll make sure we get to the end of the year with not a negative balance, and I'll do that.
The $160,000 that failed to get put in non-lapsing account for engineering. What are you going to do with that?
It's going to stay where it's going to have to stay until we can have either another special meeting or next year's meeting. We can't take it from there without approval from the public. So based on how the public wanted things, is we have to now deal with what the bottom line of everything was.
So, I like that answer. So you're aware you just can't use it.
Yes. We were aware of that the whole time.
Is there an official answer to the question of how you spend money out of revenue account to that vote?
This year, there is,
I can go here.
see, I couldn't hear anybody at the district meeting either.
Wasn't that terrible?
It was.
The audio there was, the other building has great audio. I don't remember what they call that room we usually meet in.
Cafeteria. Cafeteria.
How come we weren't there?
They waxed the floor.
They would allow us
We were using a school facility and they had flooring and other activities going on, so.
They didn't want the dust kicked up, like the gym floor was being refinished, they didn't want the dust kicked up, and then the stage was being refinished, so they didn't want the dust kicked up, and working on that.
The audio there is so much better.
I mean, I couldn't understand half the stuff I said. I mean, it just like,
Well, they have the built-in sound system there, because they use it for music performances.
So the reason we had to buy the SCBA's is because they were expired. And we would have had the money at the district meeting in March. So it would have been, if we had the district meeting in March, would have been no problem. But they were expiring at the end of June, so we had to replace them before the end of June. And through the governor's emergency order, it allowed us to expend money because of the COVID emergency that we would not, otherwise wouldn't have done, and even out of capital reserve funds.
Did that specifically cover those accounts?
Yes.
Governor's order?
Yes.
What governor's order was that?
I don't have it off the top of my head, but I can get it.
23, emergency order 23.
23?
Temporary modification of municipal and local government statutory requirements. Just like I cited at the night of the meeting. I couldn't hear half of what you were saying either.
Oh,
I was sitting right by the speaker.
I'm not blaming anyone for the audio.
Okay, but the topic was brought up multiple times during the night. Multiple times during the night it was brought up about this whole topic, and I finally did answer it later in the night to make sure everyone understood where it was. Because you had made it very clear of your intentions before the meeting.
I can't stand here and tell you I heard you say anything.
Okay.
That's, where are we relative to buying a fire truck?
We'll discuss that tonight.
Okay.
We have, went out to bid, we have the price, and expect to sign, get permission tonight to move forward with that. And then if once that signed, the contract is signed, 11 to 13 months from now, when we show up, we're going to pay for it up front. That's the plan. So there's no nothing owed on anything. It'll be paid all front. And 11 to 13 months, the new truck will roll in, and the old truck will roll out.
The plan is to buy the stainless steel Sutton.
Yes. That's what went out to bid. That was the lowest bid. And that's what we're going to do. So it was the cheapest one.
I would ask the commissioners to actually look at that spec sheet and figure something out.
The commissioners have seen the spec sheet a number of times.
I also, I assume that because of budgetary action taken at the district meeting, there will be no new hires in 2020.
Unless somebody leaves.
That's not additional personnel.
No, because we don't have money to hire additional personnel.
It was voted down, so no, we are following what the public wants.
At what point in this meeting will the fire truck purchase be discussed?
It's in
New business.
under new business.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we've addressed all except for one, maybe two of them.
I'm sorry.
We've addressed everything but two of them. The changing of the meeting.
Yep,
We didn't address that in the fireplace.
Yeah.
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, I guess we might as well just address one of his
We can take
questions.
this out of order if you want, it doesn't have to be.
No, we might as well address the meeting anyhow. The fire truck it goes down here anyhow. I do not have a problem with anybody else.
Wednesday night, I golf all summer. Since I've been here.
What about Monday nights? The only other night is Thursday or Friday, and I work every other Thursday night.
I think the reason we meet Tuesday nights is because it works for us right here.
Mondays would be difficult for Deputy Robinson and I because that's our training night.
District and training.
So I guess that's the reason we do Tuesday night. And I know I could change it, but it's really not fair to everybody else. I don't think it is.
I would submit that hobbies don't take precedent on district business.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
So I would submit that hobbies, personal hobbies, should not be allowed to take precedence over district business.
I would also submit that we have
Do you meet when the chief's on vacation?
Not usually.
I mean, we all have a life to live, and we have to accommodate the best we can. So
It's only during the summer, from May to September. After that, I
You
can
meet once a month, right?
We typically meet the first Tuesday of the month.
Right.
So we met this time to react to,
This was a special meeting, and this was not a normal monthly. Normal monthly for this one is going to be.
I mean, that's up there, we've done it that way, even when you're on, that's when we met.
Yes, that would be the next.
Thursdays. When you and I are on the board together, we met Thursdays. We were meeting over Phillips. You and I talking.
It's Thursday, because I work every day, I work Thursday.
Yeah, you did. That's why we met later.
I have other meetings on Thursdays.
It's your meeting.
Yeah.
I just asked a question.
Well, I'm going to leave it on Tuesday for now, maybe when he's done playing golf, we want to switch around a little bit, then we can switch around. Like I said, it does not matter to me whether it's Tuesday, Wednesday, or Monday. But, Thursday, I work Thursday night, and I don't work every Thursday, I work every other Thursday night. I mean, I don't know if I'll work Thursday night, I mean, I could rotate my schedule, so it would work.
Thursdays are tough for me as well because I have my New Hampshire Fire Chief meetings are on Thursday nights. So.
I guess we'll leave it Tuesday.
I mean, we all go to a lot of meetings.
what's the meeting that's in conflict?
Well,
Northfield Selectmen?
it sounds like the selectmen don't have.
What time do they meet?
Currently meeting at 5, that's going to change.
Because we meet at 5:30, as you know. If they wanted to make it later, so we can come or whatever.
Do they meet every week or every other week?
We currently, during the summer, we may meet every other week.
Well, I guess we'll leave it Tuesday for now, see what happens.
And right now on the webpage, which is subject to change if we wanted to, it's monthly meetings are held the first Tuesday of every month at 5:30 p.m. unless otherwise noted. It's kind of what we did with the elections. People knew when they ran for positions and things like that. I'm sorry, there's a conflict with certain areas, but, I mean,
Okay, so we'll leave that Tuesday for now. I guess we'll move on to financial.
Sure, I gave you the spreadsheets from the QuickBooks account.
which is a snapshot in time at the end of.
At the end of June.
So that's halfway through our budget.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you look at the percentages on the far right, if you'll see some of them that are overexpended by 50%, you know we're a little over at that point. And the ones that are under 50%, either they're annual fees that we haven't paid yet, or we just haven't reached that amount yet. So the two main concerns I have in there that are big items that are in the red is it doesn't show it because we didn't do the 6-month, the June fall salaries is over when you look at the current date, because on June 30th that wasn't in there. And of course the apparatus repairs and maintenance account is already spent.
It shows dispatching 100%, we've spent everything,
What line are you looking at?
It's on the front page.
740, 740,
I think it's,
Oh, you're looking at, that's the apparatus and equipment fund. I'm talking the operating account.
That's right.
The apparatus and equipment fund is fine. There's going to be nothing wrong with that.
that's where you need to get some stuff.
But if you look at all the percentages, most of them are pretty close to 50%. It's a little under or a little over. It's where we're supposed to be.
Can you send this to us in color? In email format? Is it possible?
There is no color.
Oh, you said in red. You don't use color formatting for, okay.
No,
I'm sorry, no, I misinterpreted that.
I thought red.
no, it's no red, sorry.
Okay, all right.
They can draw on it for you.
It's
I'll do
black,
that with a highlighter myself.
it's black and white.
Okay.
I will play with it and see if I can make it do that.
No, I just,
No promises.
I don't know if it does that.
I don't know, I'll play with it. See if I can do
just
it.
out of curiosity, as we're getting closer to things, and it's nice to see, and when we know that we went over on one, where that difference is being made up. So, all right.
Anybody got any questions?
Yeah. Line 690, miscellaneous, on the uniforms? No, wait, all right, it's a separate line.
It's a line all by itself.
Yeah, but we're like 3,000. Like, what, did something get distorted?
No.
What,
Um,
miscellaneous is a line, I don't know.
It's because something we had to get, there was no line item for it, and that's where it went. Yeah, it's in QuickBooks.
I know, it's okay.
In the meantime, for maintenance and repairs going forward, I know of approximately $7,800 in PMs and maintenance that still needs to occur, plus the $13,200 for the repair of engine 1. So that's approximately $21,000 in repairs and maintenance that are still going to have to be spent for the rest of this year. And that's not counting anything else breaking. And the two main areas that I'm looking at where hopefully we'll have money to offset that over expenditure is either in overtime or in salaries. We had a couple months where Beth was working from home or not working at all, and so we might be able to squeeze some of her salary into some of this maintenance and repair. One of the things I'm looking at is the fire alarm system at Center Street has to be tested annually, $1,400. Maybe we test it ourselves and don't incur the expense.
If we can do that, why wouldn't we do it anyway?
Because we're not certified.
So,
It's
For insurance purposes, we're not certified.
so we'll do it anyhow. To save money. I mean, if we're not certified, we shouldn't.
no, we shouldn't. But these are some of the things I'm want to talk to you guys about and see what are your thought process. I don't think we should do it ourselves, but we can do it ourselves. We will find out if all the devices work. But we don't get a piece of paper from ourselves from a certified fire alarm technician saying, yep, that system's up and running and good to go. I really don't like it because we have people sleeping. But these are the types of things I have to look at, and as they come across these things within the budget, and discuss them with you. I call Paul a lot, because he's the chairman, to get like a direction sometimes as to what, and if we have a different chairman, I'll be calling him more often.
You know what really bothers me though is, here we can't inspect it or see it, and we go into people's homes. It does not make sense to me.
It's a different inspection.
Huh?
It's a different kind of inspection.
And we can't, so if you were to, if somebody had a fire alarm system, it wouldn't be up to us to test it. We'd have to call a private company.
Yeah, so a house, the fire alarms in a house have a test button.
And I understand that.
These systems do not have test buttons. They're devices that have to be triggered, usually with a magnet or some other device,
I
to
understand.
cause it to
We
go
have
on alarm.
They come with a test.
And there's also a control panel that they have to make sure that the control panel is programmed right and reports to the monitoring company properly. That's all part of their inspection process. When we do our house, we push the button on the smoke detector. It works, and if it's interconnected, it rings the other ones. We're certified to do that. We're not certified to we're not licensed. You have to be a licensed electrician for starters. A Class D licensed electrician.
It just, the big things are.
Well, code is generated by people in the manufacturing trade and things like that, and that's where they expect to make their money, so that's why they get on the boards to add that in.
Okay.
To answer the question on account 690, that is all COVID-19 related expenses.
Yes, so I applied for a grant to get reimbursement for those, and just haven't heard yet on the reimbursement. I expect us to get it. Still haven't heard.
And that is primarily protective equipment and,
Yes.
Masks, gowns,
Everything
gloves,
that we need.
that kind of stuff.
okay, but not training
No.
or anything else, it's just the disinfecting and the protective equipment.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is all disposable on top of it, usually, which,
So, one of the other things I discovered in the last week is that there's, the state is giving municipalities money for COVID expenses to defray the cost of the fire district and police department, not the fire district, excuse me, their departments, and it was, the governor gave the money away based on population. We're a fire district. We don't have a population, so we're not getting any of that money. But we would be. But the only way for us to get that money would be to get it from either Tilton or Tilton and Hospital. And they're not likely to do that.
and then get
We could ask them, but they don't have to give it.
Yeah. No, the population center, so selectmen of Northfield or Tilton would have to apply for that emergency services support, and then they could do it that way.
It's a bit of a loss for us, being a district. Yeah, when the August meeting comes up, we'll have to the end of July, which will be
To get you,
Is it possible to get, even if we got one for June, is everything for June entered? We were still,
well, I think, yeah.
I don't know if there are any more invoices coming in for June.
The only time we have worried about invoices is at the end of the fiscal year. We have to have it booked over.
The report is to the end of June, but census on an accrual basis, all the bills through that point in time are showing up, whether they've been paid or not. Okay,
for your tracking purposes, if
For
you're
tracking
for your book
yes.
purpose.
Yes,
We could switch it to cash, but it's better on accrual for us.
Okay, we move on. Old business. Tax-free station communication tower.
So, that's before the Northfield Zoning Board of Appeals or something like that, right? Is that it?
What's that?
The Zoning Board of Appeals or something? The communication tower.
It's back before the zoning board.
That's what I said. Yeah, I can't, the names from Massachusetts here are similar, but not exactly the same, so I get confused in naming both wrong. And they meet next Monday at 7? 7 o'clock, the 27th? 7 o'clock, yeah. And so I'll be attending that meeting. See what happens after that.
And why did it go back to that?
They continued the hearing. So this is the third time they're discussing the tower at a meeting because there are questions and then they go get answers and then they have more questions and answers. So they haven't made a determination yet.
I thought it had already got through the whole process.
No, this is the first part of the process for the town of North.
You got more questions on that?
Actually, I did have a question on that, because something came up. How does the fall zone impact this property?
This property is within the fall zone.
I understand that, but the fire station planning committee was looking at potentially adding on square footage to this building in one way or another. How is that impacted now by the antenna? We were told back in the committee that the antenna height fall zone, its footprint of 75 by 75 is the only impact. Anything beyond that, it wouldn't impact. Is that still the case?
As long as it stays standing, which I bet almost everything I own on it, that would not fall. If you look at almost every police station, fire station, there's a communication tower built right next to it, and this is going to be the same. It's actually built to a higher standard. Tilton Police Station, new police station, you don't see it yet, but there's a tower right next to it for their communication purposes. And the main reason where this tower was proposed is for our communication purposes, because this antenna stinks. And if we can put it to a point where it really works for us and it can make money for us, that's why I put it out to the commissioners years ago. We did the RFP, we awarded the RFP to this company, and now the company is before the town of Northfield to actually build the application process. to do.
So the process was started. I guess what my concern is potential future impacts of this tower, impacting a potential of a station expansion, if that was the direction the district went with, or our Primex insurance, because we're now building in the fall zone, or anything like that.
I don't believe it will affect our insurance whatsoever.
Have we researched that?
I haven't researched it, but I've done this in Massachusetts with towers next to police stations and fire stations, big ones, cell towers, and it did not affect our insurance rates.
Does it cost us anything to reach out to Primex and find out in advance?
No, nothing.
I would like to do that to make sure that we're covered in advance, that we're not stepping into a quagmire.
No problem.
Nothing.
I just don't want to get down one route and find out, oops, we can't, and we've already sunk money and things like that into it, especially this year.
We haven't sunk a penny into it.
I don't want to either, to get partially through something. Like I said, any potential misstep out there, if it doesn't cost us to ask the question, let's ask the question.
It doesn't cost us a penny to ask for it.
You all set there?
Yeah.
Okay, Park Street property.
So I received word from the state of New Hampshire. I forget the woman's name. I had the email. That the expansion, they're giving us the property that we requested, which is about 18,000 square feet. The rest of the lawn, basically, has been approved. The only thing is they haven't done the assessment for it to find out how much we will have to pay for it. She couldn't give me a time frame on that either, because she said in the email that there were other properties with higher priorities than ours at this point. So they will get done for us, then ours will fall in line wherever that is, and they'll let us know what that amount is when it is, and then we will have the option to purchase that property for that amount. And I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be $1,000. I don't know if it's going to be $100,000, but it's approximately 18,000 square feet, which would make, if you do an expansion of the station, would make it a lot easier to fit onto the property without crossing the line or coming right up to the line. So that's good news. The bad news is, if it does get approved in this fiscal year, we don't have any money to buy it.
Well, we have money to land to build, and we could have a special meeting.
We would have to petition for a special meeting.
I mean, it would be a shame that the opportunity is there to buy it for, say they wanted $5,000 for it. It would be a shame if we didn't buy it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, great fine. Now, if they wanted $400,000 or $500,000 for it, we're going to have to think once before spending that kind of money. But I don't believe it would be that much. I really don't.
I'm thinking high side 60,000. I'm thinking, but I don't know. Yeah, but it's in a prime location. Depends on what the assessment comes in at. What do they compare it to?
But technically, it does nobody else any good.
No,
I mean, they can't put a convenience store there. They can't do.
can't put $1,000 on it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it comes in low. Maybe they say $1.
Yeah.
Flip them a buck right now.
Pending it does come in, what, for a special meeting, our criterias are how much?
We have to petition the courts.
The court, the Superior Court, because if you're asking for money, you have to petition the Superior Court to have a special meeting.
So we have to petition, first off.
Right, and then if it's approved, then we go through the whole process of
Posting
and
and hearings and all that kind of
all
stuff.
that.
Does it have to go through the legislature?
No.
No, just has to go.
No, not special meeting, sorry.
No,
Park Street property.
no,
That
it
18,000
no, it
square
does
feet.
not.
No.
It just
It's
has
already
to-
been through all the
Goes to the
boards,
executive council.
commissions, and something else. I think what it is. But
to go to the executive
So
council.
if they've approved it, the sale
If
of it, they've already
if it's
gone
supposed
through
to go
that
to the executive
process.
council, it probably already went there.
Is there additional court costs that we would have to tack onto it too?
Yes.
We would probably have to have attorney fees
Yes,
and court fees,
attorney and court fees. And then, of
filing
course,
fees.
whatever else.
And what about subdividing, I mean, not subdividing, but surveying the land, we've had that done. Didn't we?
So this property's been surveyed.
Yes.
That property, we would probably have to do an addendum onto that survey to make sure that the bounds are actually marked like these ones.
Right.
This would be a good buy.
And you, like you said, you're already into a deficit budget to begin with to make happen because of the vehicle breakdown.
And that's why you have to go petition the Superior Court.
I don't think the public would be very agreeable to that this year with a deficit, but that's just my 2 cents of it.
The meeting.
I don't know, if you had the opportunity to buy it for that price, you'd something much better.
But if it's, okay, if it's gonna cost us $10,000 to buy it, it's gonna cost us $12,000 to continue. I don't know what the costs are gonna be, but I think it'd be smart decision, you know, to watch the people's money.
We may not even get that information until next year anyways.
Right.
Depending on how
So that
long
might help.
it takes the process.
Because the other thing is if they say, nope, you can do it, but you need to do it within a timeline, and it's before this fiscal year ran out, then that would be another hurdle to address appropriately.
But all I'm saying is if we had the opportunity to buy it at the right price, then we'd be stupid not to try to go after it.
If
Because
everything,
next year, it may not be there for us.
Right.
They might say, no, we're not going to do this.
right, they might turn it down if it's, but it's waiting on the first gate is to see a yes and how much.
Right.
And that would be the first gate, and then from there we can set up the future. That's why I was kind of asking some of those questions ahead of time.
So we got the yes, we just have to wait for the how much.
Yes, okay.
Okay, any more questions on that? Okay, see, let's move on. New business. District update, meeting update.
Kind of already did that.
But
Is there something any additional that anybody wants to say about the district meeting?
I do have a couple of questions. Did we do a pre-meeting check of the audio, video, and the sound and all that? I was under the impression there was going to be a presentation as well as a station presentation, and I've already taken some fun emails because we did not do that. I know that there was other questions about the report being online, and the presentation being online. I was trying tonight before I came in to see back to our commissioners meeting when we made a decision about the report one way or another, because I can't remember because that was so far ago, I hate saying, but. So there was some, that did not help the situation on top of things. That was just one more piece of the puzzle that without the presentation, without the station, all that stuff that didn't go well.
So, the projector, tried it in the office, works great. We put it in the auditorium. It wasn't powerful enough to overcome the lights.
The lights, the distance and all that,
and the
right?
distance.
Right.
So, like, we've used that projector for the building committee meetings. Remember the one I
Yep.
bought? It worked fine.
But we didn't test it ahead of time.
No, we didn't. We did not.
I would ask going forward in the future that when we do these things, we definitely set up everything in advance and test it out so that, because I know that you might have been able to also get a very high quality projector from someone that does it in the park. Either the police department or Dunkirk Productions has it, and if they do the movies in the park, that would have been strong enough to do it. So that's,
I did ask Duncan about
yeah, I'm not sure if you bought that one or at least it was definitely front, but lesson learned going forward, we definitely want to check stuff in advance, but that did help the situation. The sound didn't help, I mean, we couldn't hear anything on our side, so it's hard to answer questions on top of things.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it was a billion. All I can say.
I think we have sound on for maybe, we're behind the scenes.
Something, just learn, lesson learned for future, that they would definitely reverse ahead of time.
Most people don't have motor during the
Well, the other lesson learned is that we can't use the cafeteria for road.
Waiting till late in the year without a budget is probably just as disastrous. I mean, we were, you gotta get the budget done early on. Signed up early on. Because we were hearing the other side of that coin too.
So hopefully we won't have a big second wave of these things. We'll put it out and hopefully 6 months from now we don't look like Arizona. We've been through some of it now, we're learning from it, and I think those lessons move forward. Use them. Maybe we'll make mistakes.
Our life, our learning, hopefully other people make them and we can learn from their mistakes as well. That was the biggest thing I had to do. It did not, it was not a very good meeting.
And I understand why, but again,
So part of that, some of the other blasts I've been getting is because we require masks. Even though the governor recommends, because he's very neutral on a lot of his answers, that's where when we did requiring that, a lot of people were against us at that point, instead of recommending.
I think they're coming out with something. I just saw something on one of my feeds that the governor is saying, state launches, public safety announcement. Come on, keep going. Urging use of masks. It's just a news feed, so I can't.
Once again, he's urging, just like,
Yeah.
he's very neutral, just like the back to school program
Mm-hmm.
is based on local jurisdictions. It's not going to be a statewide directive down because then they bought the cost. Feds aren't going to do it because then they bought the cost. So that is one of the things that we really took a heat round on from what I've been getting from emails.
okay. You all set, Eric?
Yep.
Okay, let's move on to fire engine.
Okay, so the voters at district meeting approved $703,677 for the engine. I would ask somebody to make a motion to allow me to authorize me to enter and sign a contract with Sutphen and Digi Machine Company to purchase a new Sutphen engine for the Tilton Northfield Fire District with the sum not to exceed $703,677.
I thought the engine itself was 677.
No, that was if we were buying two.
The price if we were buying one versus
Yep.
buying two.
Okay.
Wasn't,
Now, if you guys
Wasn't there
want to
$28,000?
authorize me to buy two engines, we can get that better price.
Let me make that clear for the camera. No.
was this price equipped, like with,
There's
like
additional
$28,000?
28,000 and change for equipment, but that's not
That's not
part of the engine purchase.
Okay. Yes. That's where I got that one.
Well, that's when you said 670, I didn't know.
Yeah. No, it was a 703, and then, because I had a number of 732, which would include the
That's
28.
732,
Yeah.
that's what I was looking for.
Okay.
That was with the 28. So that, they didn't approve 732, they approved,
No, they approved it all.
oh, but this 703
just
is
the engine.
This is the proposal from me.
And we got public comment on this too.
Somebody will make a motion to discuss it.
I'll make a motion to to authorize Chief Sakar to enter and sign a contract with Sutphin and Dingy Machine Company to purchase a new Sutphin engine to the Northern Fire District with a sum not to exceed $703,677.
Can you say number one more time? Sorry. 703.
703,677.
677.
Motion is made, and I'll second it for discussion.
Okay. So now it's on the table for discussion.
As the commissioners all know, this went out to bid with the specifications that the fire engine committee put together. There's really nothing crazy in the specifications. It's got a big block motor, well, 12-liter motor, transmission. It's got stainless steel body. The cab is aluminum. It has a 1,000-gallon tank, 1,500-gallon per minute pump. Has a discharge for a monitor on top. We're just moving the monitor over from the old engine to the new engine. It has scene lighting, brow lights and side lights.
Okay. So down within the no tower.
No tower.
Okay.
We wanted a tower, but it wasn't going to.
No? I remember that was removed, so.
Yeah. They're compartment type doors, mostly all the way around, except for the engineer's compartment, which is a roll-up door, similar to what the ladder is. It carries all the hose we need to carry. It's laid out in a manner that for the way we operate, where we pull most of our hose off the back, but we still have a couple of cross lays. There's no front connect on this. There is a booster rail on top, which took the place of a front mount connect, which is they deemed to be more versatile than having to pull 100 and something feet an inch and 3/4. They can pull a booster line without a parking lot wire instead. And other similar type of covers. I went through the specs with this committee very, very thoroughly. There are some things that I would personally have changed on it, but I don't operate this truck every day. Those guys work on the truck every day, and it's designed for the way we work here at Hilton Northfield Fire Department and to meet the mission that we're trying to provide by the men who are doing it. Again, there was nothing crazy on that, specified on that piece of vehicle. I guess the major cost of that being a little bit more than some of the other engines around here is the engineering cost to get it to fit in the station. And that's, if anybody has any questions, I'd certainly help.
You said the engineering cost to get in the station was about 12,000 approximate?
I believe so. They wouldn't,
Obviously.
as much as I tried to get a number out of them, they're not comfortable. Because it's proprietary to every manufacturer, how much it costs them to engineer something.
But still solid axle, or it's not sunken into the axle, the body and all that?
Yeah, it's solid.
Okay.
Now, if we were to order a metal next year, we have paid any engineer cost.
So I've been talking with them this week. I said, if we order one next year, can we use the same specification? And he says it depends upon how soon next year order. Because it depends upon the components that they use to build the truck. If the companies change some of the components, then the truck has to be re-engineered. If all those components that they use to build the truck are still exactly the same, then it does not have to be re-engineered, and we should have some savings on that. But again, I remind you that they're having a 2 to 4% price increase September 15th of this year. So no matter what, it's going to cost 2 to 4% more than it did this year. Hopefully some of that engineering savings will
Take care of it.
will negate some of that.
You know, over the years, we bought, a couple trucks off Larry.
Yep.
And in this company that he works for, there again, I've done some research, and I've talked to other people. It's a family-owned business, and they are a good well-known company, and they stand behind their products, where some of the other ones, they probably don't stand behind them, because probably to them, and some of the bigger companies, we just, somebody else sticks. They don't care about us. We don't buy fire trucks every year or.
Yeah, so Suffolk is a privately owned, family-owned company.
Yeah.
It's not owned by the Rev Group, which most of the fire apparatus manufacturers today are owned by a larger conglomerate. It's called the Rev Group. E1, Pierce is owned by them. KME, almost every fire truck manufacturer you can think of is now owned by this one great big conglomerate. Seagrave is not part of that group. So, the Seagraves been making engines for a very long time. Sufton. I think next to only Seagrave. So.
Franklin has one, Corning's getting one.
Yes.
They'll get into something.
Yes.
You know, and like I said, Larry, over the years when we bought trucks from him, we bought a couple off him. If we ever had a problem, he would come down and he'd actually, a lot of times, he'd do stuff for nothing for us, because he took pride in his work. And I think personally this company does too. It sounds like they're a company that, you know, wants to grow and wants to take care of their customers. Whereas some of these bigger ones, it's just money to them.
Yeah, I agree. Larry, you know, if we were going to get the two engines, he was going to fix engine one for free for no cost.
Now, other companies wouldn't have done something like that. Now, let me ask you another question. If we were, the truck we're trading in, we're going to get rid of, would they give us anything towards?
So, right now, not really.
He didn't mention anything?
No, because he hasn't personally seen this truck, so he wants to look at it and see. And this is, again, it's going to be 11 to 13 months from now when he's going to get a chance to, where he's got to determine 11 to 13 months from now, what's this truck going to be worth, if anything. And he has to decide, is it worth him to take in and then try and resell it, and what can he resell it for and still make money? So this is the discussion we're going to have tomorrow and Thursday with Larry. How much can you give us for this truck so that I can incorporate it into the contract?
5 years ago it was $5,000.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think
It might be cheaper, more advantageous just to drive it down to Farmington and put it on the scale.
It could cost us pretty good. I have no intention, I would have no intentions on keeping it, that's for sure.
no.
I mean, we got to get rid of it one way or the other. Now, wherever the most money is, I guess.
And that's what we'll do. Where we can get the most money for it, what we'll do.
Just a shame to sink 13,000 into it, and a year later we're going to have to give what, 5,000 for it. What a shame.
And the sad thing about it, that's 13,000 right now. We don't know what's going to happen 2 months from now. Either.
I understand that. It's a shame.
It is.
Well, unfortunately, and I definitely will try to get to this question
Okay,
because,
go ahead.
so stainless. We went with stainless. Let's talk about that because I know that that's a topic of discussion here. You're going to do painted stainless?
It is painted.
And I understand the benefits of stainless over aluminum for structural and things like that. What's the rest of our fleet? And how much of a difference is it with the stainless because of the different type of metal, the cost, the finishing that goes into it?
You know how much it cost? How much more did it cost?
Yes.
The E1 was aluminum, and it cost more. So the Sufton, they said it's an exact cost on ours. It was like $1,800 difference because it's a different manufacturing process because of the way they put it together and stuff like that. So the stainless, the reason I picked stainless over aluminum is for little to no additional cost. You get a vehicle that's going to not corrode the way aluminum corrodes. We've seen on engine 1 and engine 3, they both have to been refurbed, repainted, and the spots just keep coming. You'll see on the ambulance over there that it's got rust spots all over, corrosion spots all over. That does not happen with stainless steel. So, for a minor cost up front, you get stainless steel. And what that saves you is it's about 7 years, you're going to have problems with the aluminum corroding. And then you have to take it out of service, get it painted, whether it's under warranty or not, it's out of service, we can't use the truck. That costs us time and money because we can't use it. And then if it's out of warranty, then it costs us money to keep the truck up and so that the corrosion doesn't go crazy on it and you lose full functionality of the vehicle. So you have to repair it if it gets there. With the stainless steel, you don't have that issue. It just doesn't happen. That's why I prefer the stainless steel. And like I said, I wouldn't have picked the Sutton itself. I would have picked the C-grade, but that cost about $50,000 more than the Sutton because it has a stainless steel cab. We're still getting an aluminum cab, but we won't have problems with the body corroding. But I'm pretty sure 7, 8 years from now, the cab on that Sutton is going to have problems that we'll have to address.
So when we're buying a truck that they're estimating is going to be a 20-year usage, granted things change, does it come with a prescribed maintenance plan, or do they just say, yeah, you're buying a 20-year truck, but your body work is going to be end of warranty in 5?
So they warranty the paint, the bumper, bumper for 1 year, everything, except certain components, like the engine, because the engine, Cummins will warranty the engine, Allenson will warranty the transmission, but the body and stuff like that is warranted by Sutton Electronics for bumper to bumper for you. After that, there's a lifetime warranty on the frame, and that was one of the other things I was looking for. It is a single frame rail, not a double frame rail.
Okay.
That was one of the other big issues with specifying apparatus. As you know, engine 1 is a double frame rail, and it has rust in between the frame rails that we tried to take care of, but it's still getting worse to this day. We're just, at some point, the frame will crash. Unless you take the truck off the frame rails and pull the frame rails apart and then refinish them all, which is about a $60,000 job. So we take care of all our vehicles according to manufacturer specifications. Whatever they say we should do in the hours or mileage-wise, we do.
Including if they recommend washing after with New Hampshire salt winters, what's their recommendation generally for that? Because once again, they're taking care of the frame, but we're buying a 20-year truck, but it's going to rust off the frame within 7 years, hypothetically?
No.
That's pushing way beyond, but the rust is going to be coming in.
So the body will not rust. The frame is guaranteed for life. So those two big things are right there. What will probably have a corrosion issue with the cab, I'm going to say in 8 years, because that's my experience living in New England my whole life. We bought E1s in American LaFrance's down where I worked before, and Lexington we were buying Maxims at the time. All made out of aluminum, all 7 to 8 years, they all start to corrode around the door handles and places. I'm sure you know where they all are because you've seen it all yourself. That needs to be addressed. And that takes time and money, and it takes it out of service to do that. And that's what we're trying to avoid. So, hopefully at some point, I don't know when, but maybe we'll have a newer station where we're able to better take care of our vehicles by washing them when we get back and stuff like that. But right now, at Center Street, we're very limited what we can do. We can wash them here, but then we drive them back. That's the situation we're in right now, and that's what we have to do.
Because of drainage.
Yeah, and then park in the road and the washing and all that. And we can't wash inside because,
Well, there are no drains inside,
Right.
and the floor is very uneven, as everybody's well aware. And the outside has someone put in a private drain. We wash the trucks out there, we fill that private drain full of salt and sand, and
there's no
then
separator.
people
or
get
anything.
very upset.
He has more questions on the public.
You got anything else on that, Kevin, on the truck or anything?
No, I will say this. I don't believe it's appropriate for anyone who is not a member of a board to make a motion, to ask for a motion, or to provide wording for a motion.
I'm sorry, you lost me on that thought process. So, again, please.
I don't believe it's appropriate for anyone who is not a member of the board to make a motion, ask for a motion, or provide wording for a motion. And further, it is not appropriate for a board to take public comment when the board is discussing after a motion's been made. That is a time for you three to determine, and after that you take your vote, which at that point, you've made your vote, it's too late for public comment.
So, out of curiosity, last January, February, when we were talking about this and you offered your input then, something changed since then?
Public comment in the beginning of the meeting is different than public comment after there's been a motion and a second when the board is in discussion of the motion. But seeing as how you let that fly, you could go through those specifications and find things that cost money that make a difference. You're buying a half stainless truck and a half aluminum truck. There's no way that the difference between aluminum and stainless steel in a fire body is $1,800. The raw material alone costs that much.
Different gauges, different thicknesses. The stainless steel is thinner than the aluminum.
If you're going to have to fix the cab anyway, this thing doesn't have to last 50 years. You're not going to have it that long. It's a single frame truck generally costs more than a double frame truck. There are issues with a double frame truck, but are those issues going to come into play in the time we have it? Engine 1's a double frame truck. It's 20 years old. We're getting rid of it. Guess what? It lasted. We could have spent more money back then and got a single frame truck. We didn't need it. We just don't need it. And I've been told, someone quoted the cost of engineering to get it to fit in Center Street at $12,000. I've heard all along it's 10 or 12%, which is $80,000. So who's right?
Don't know, because I've been told both. And no one's going to tell me the truth. Tell me.
And this the truck you buy should be the best you can get for the least you can get if it does the job. Like it or not. And I don't like engine 1, never have. The truck does the job. Engine 3 does the job.
Engine 1 doesn't do the job. Most of the time, it's sitting in the shop.
So currently, it is not efficiently doing the job. And in the past, it probably did when it came, but now, with the maintenance and the breakdowns and all that, it's
the
not
question then
efficient.
becomes, what is the real life of these trucks? It's not 20 years. The problem is the people we have put these trucks together, when what they tell us doesn't come to fruition, there's nobody held accountable. Because engine 1 was bought under one chief, engine 3 was bought on another, and now I assume this new truck will be known as engine 1. No, engine 3. Engine 2. So we're going to have 3 engines?
No. It's going to be named 2, and then I would assume the plan when 3 goes out, it would come back as 1. So you'd have engine 1 and engine 2 down the road.
So we are with a new chief saying this is the truck. Everybody's got an opinion. And why would you ever spend more money than you have to get the job done? When the fact of the matter is, it's really just a necessary evil. Nobody wants to use these things, but we have to have them. So, I mean, there are many things you could do that gets us a truck that'll serve us just fine for the real life of the truck, which is probably closer to 13 to 15 years than it is 20.
There's a lot of variables that are going to go into how long a truck lasts. Number of calls, the weather. What happens if we have dry winters? We don't have a lot of salt. It might extend the life of it, or vice versa. If we have, a lot of freezing rain, where they have to use a lot more salt on the roads.
That's right, but that all happens anyway.
But there's too many. No one has a crystal ball that's going to tell us how long an engine's going to last. You can make an approximation. You can tell me that the tires on my car are going to last 50,000 miles, but if I choose to do burnouts at every intersection, they're not going to last 50,000 miles, no matter what the manufacturer tells me, because they don't know my driving style. We don't know what the usage of these trucks are going to be, because we can't predict the future. We know that our calls are rising. The number of calls that we respond to every year rise. The number of calls that the fire engines respond to is going up every year, so they're getting used more and more. But we don't know, what was, is it engine 3 that got into a car accident? 2 years or 3 years after it was purchased, got into an accident. We don't know. Week 1, who knows? Maybe it gets stuck on the train track and it gets struck by an engine coming through at 2 miles per hour, but it's going to do damage to the train, or to the fire engine. You don't know. There's too many variables, but we make educated guesses with the information that we have, and hope that, you have to hope that that's the best information you have, because we're not psychics. No one here is. No one in this room is a psychic and to be able to predict how long an engine's going to last. So, engine 1, yeah, it's what was it, 2001, so it's coming up to the what you had hoped you got your money's worth out of it. I just moved into town in 2001. So, actually, technically, if we, it was purchased before I moved to town. Engine 3, I wasn't really involved in, town. I was raising my family at the time. So, I wasn't as involved, but, we hire, the people to make decisions. They bring the best information to us, and everyone makes an independent decision on what we are trying to do. And, it's like medicine. It's a practice. No one that's doing anything with surgery, with medicine is doing things perfectly, because you try something for a while. Try this medication for a while, see if it makes you better. You go back in a month, try this one. It's not exact, and it's hard. It's hard.
I got nothing to say. I mean, I guess the motion's been made and second. I guess we'll take a vote on it.
Well, I was waiting to see if you had any.
Go ahead.
Sorry. So potentially in 7 years, it's going to potentially develop rust. Theoretically,
I wouldn't call it rust. It's oxidation on aluminum.
Right.
Corrosion.
Right.
Yep,
That's
I'm
not
going to
steel.
say
Right.
you're going to go up to the door handle and you're going to say, it's bumping now. There's bumps.
Yeah. The oxidation. You're right.
Yes. I haven't seen something out of aluminum that hasn't done that in 7 to 8, 10 years in this environment. I just haven't.
So
No matter how many times you wash it and wax it and all that kind of stuff, it's just the bonding process of paint to aluminum is different than the bonding process of paint to steel, whether it's stainless steel or regular carbon steel or whatever. Aluminum tends to hold contaminants against it, even they do everything they possibly can to make sure there is no contaminants upon that aluminum when they put the paint on. But invariably, anywhere there's penetrations on the vehicle, or door handles specifically, I see it, there gets contamination between the paint and the aluminum, and then the paint starts bubbling off 7 to 10 years down the road. I haven't seen it otherwise.
So we know if we had a crystal ball, we would expect that we would have oxidation and corrosion down the road.
On the cab, yep.
On the cab. So, the body portion of it that you're doing is stainless.
I expect to see none. Because the stainless trucks that I've worked with, never had it.
And we'll in that itemized do an itemized breakdown of what stainless versus aluminum is, so we can see that it's only $1,800 more to go with stainless versus aluminum.
I don't know.
That's kind of what I'm getting. I mean, we're taking for face value, it's $1,800 difference for stainless over painted aluminum. I really would like to see an ultimate breakdown of everything before we put a signature to it, to verify all this stuff, because either way,
Okay. I mean, I don't.
and just with the engineering costs, I mean, we need an engine. I'm not saying we don't need an engine. We need one because we can't rely on engine one, so we need something purchased like now and get manufacturing so it can get here, because operationally, pretty soon this thing might have to start going out as second due attack engine at the rate we've been going.
If you want me to get a breakdown, if it costs $1,900 for aluminum, do you want us to re-engineer the whole truck and go through the whole process again?
No, I just want to validate the numbers, because we didn't see minutes and stuff from the whole committee, because at the time you weren't asked, and I respect that. However,
they did.
right, so the commissioners were kind of brought into it late in the game. So kind of doing that shows due diligence for the public that we are looking at it. The whole thing is being transparent and showing that we are trying to do what's best for the public. That's what I'm trying to do.
Can I speak up as a member of the committee? I was on this committee,
Okay.
and I don't have the numbers in front of me. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the numbers were very minuscule. I can't tell you if they were $1,800, $1,400, $3,000. I don't know what the numbers were. But I think as the thought process the committee went on, and I don't want to quote everybody or think for everybody, but on the body, there's more spots where you're going to see corrosion. You have all the attachment spots for the lights. Many more handles. You have many more spots, and as a committee, I believe we went with the cheapest truck. E1 was more expensive. C-Grade was more expensive. We didn't entertain Pierce because Pierce is notoriously higher, and that's why people are getting away from buying Pierces. So I don't think you're going to see this crazy amount of numbers if we get you an itemized breakdown. You're going to see, oh, all right, it was $1,800 more, $2,000 more. It wasn't like 50 grand more to get the body that way, because like Kevin said, or like anybody said, we have to look at how long these trucks are good for. But what's happening in engine one is completely unacceptable. I mean, it's been dragged out and it's ultimately falling apart. So what we did is we got the best bang for the buck, something that's going to serve well, and that's why we chose the body stainless, due to bigger surface area. I mean, you can look at engine one, it's all rusted over the wheel wells, and we've tried to prevent that as best as possible. That stuff's just unpreventable, so it's a bigger area, so that's why we did it that way, and it was very minimal. Like I said, I can't promise you a number or anything, but it wasn't this huge fluctuation. I just wanted you to hear it from my side, because we didn't
No, we
get
appreciate the
everything on
feedback
it.
from all avenues.
Yeah, we didn't take everything the chief said and, we did our own thing and then brought all our ideas together.
I still, just going into a purchasing agreement, I think we probably should have somewhat of a breakdown, yeah. I think just being due diligent
Yeah.
for the public, because they're gonna ask us on that. Theoretically, it's like, well, how much was this piece? How much was this piece? So just having either major body groups or some kind of a engineer, I would assume they have some kind of an engineered breakdown. It doesn't have to be their 30-page quick book version, but there should be the pump, hydraulic assembly.
I'll ask them. I don't know if it'll provide it specifically how you're asking. I don't think they have to.
I would request that. I mean, I'm just.
I'll ask
afraid,
it, but
Right.
I don't know if it will actually happen.
Right, and they may say no, but I think that would be a little bit more beneficial for helping to move forward and showing the public that we're trying everywhere we can. Just my 2 cents.
Okay. So I guess we should do that, maybe we'll take a look at that.
You can still, you put the motion on the floor, you have to vote on it.
Well, evidently, you don't, I mean, we want to see some numbers. So
Right, but you
I'm
still
not-
have a motion on the floor, you still have
So I
to
can
vote
rescind
on
that.
it.
I can ask, but I'm not guaranteeing you get it.
Right. And I respect that.
So can we get that information maybe for 2 weeks, is our next meeting?
Next meeting is in 2 weeks, it's on school.
So that's why, if we could have that, and then it would get sent out to us as soon as you got it, just to, and then.
Well, what happens if we don't get the information in 2 weeks?
then
I'm
if
just
they're
gonna
not-
ask that
Yeah,
question.
I agree.
I'm just going to say, whether you get the information or not, if we have to go out to bid again,
It's going to delay everything.
first it's going to delay everything, and if something is the award winner again, we're going to see that increase on September 15th. Just let me know.
I'm not trying to cross that threshold, I'm just would like to see something to show due diligence for the public. Just where we had the engineer, 80-page engineer, but I don't believe it had the cost factor in there.
They generally don't give you the cost.
Usually you don't get, I work in the department,
Right.
you get.
This is
your
the
car,
$100.
That's what you're gonna pay. If you want the fancy paper clip, it's gonna be $500 extra. If you want this, it's gonna be this. And they're not gonna tell you how much it costs for each tire. They're not gonna tell you how much it costs for the door handles. It doesn't work that way.
Just one person.
I saw a car yesterday at work, a Ford. I know you like Fords. 2 years old, paint's gone. That's all.
Making changes should not require you to go out to bid again. Whether
Yes,
it goes to
because
bid or
it's-
not is up to you three anyway.
I mean, we can vote on it, it's how the commissioners, it's a quorum, that's the reason why you have 3 people. I just think seeing the numbers would help my decision.
It would be nice to see somewhat the numbers. And, you know, whether it's 18, if it's, you know, under 30,000, it might change us a little bit by doing it. And I have no problem with that either. So in another 2 weeks, it wouldn't be that, it's not going to delay that much.
No, not when you're talking 11 to 13 months, it's, I don't want to cross September, absolutely not.
No, but if they're willing to give us that, we can make a decision next month. I mean, the 3rd, August 3rd.
So we would table the motion until the
Yeah.
August 4th meeting.
We could do that in that room.
I guess that's a motion. Make a motion to, do I have to rescind the motion or do I have to? Do I have to rescind it? Take back?
You have to withdraw.
You
The
have to
person who
withdraw.
seconded it has to agree to that.
All right, I will withdraw my motion.
Okay, the motion's been withdrawn, then we have to vote on it.
So the person who seconded has to
Which is
withdraw.
Okay. And I'll accept his motion.
You have to withdraw your
You
second.
Okay, I'll withdraw my second.
So now we're back to
Square one.
square one.
Now, we should make a motion.
So I would like to make a motion that we reach out to the manufacturer to get an itemized cost to the best we can for due diligence, and bring that before the board on August 3rd for, August 4th, I'm sorry, August 4th for review and rendering a decision.
Motion been made, anybody second it?
Also,
Motion been made, second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, review the minutes of July 2nd, 2020. Is everybody ready?
Yes.
Anyone make a motion?
I think I've seen one, okay.
All right.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from July 2nd, 2020 as written.
Been moved second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any other business?
Signed.
Everybody's working on that. The manifest and the MS 232.
See, no, manifest, we're doing that.
Right.
That's the signature of the MS 220. And the next meeting, August 4th.
Yes.
Okay.
5:30.
So, can whoever, John, would you write down exactly how you want me to phrase this question to, so I make sure that I get the exact phrasing that you want me to ask me?
I can write that. I guess we're trying to find major cost groups. I don't know exactly how to phrase it, but I think major cost groups, so the structure, the frame, like definitely the difference of the cost for the stainless steel versus the aluminum. I understand the structural benefit of one as well as the corrosion and oxidation differences of them. Just trying to see what because he put together, this is what we're going to do, and so a major itemized,
Yeah, he had a build sheet,
something of that nature, yes.
so if he can put prices to that build sheet, would that satisfy?
I
the
think
report?
that's kind of, yeah, just seeing
Prices
some
to
of the
build.
costs, yes.
Okay. That's what I'll ask him specifically.
Yeah.
Can you put prices to that build sheet?
Yes, please.
All right.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn at 7:08. Motion is made, second. All those in favor?
I can see he deletes it. How quickly she takes your hand away from that.
Oh, good thing. You know,